Welcome to our April 100 Plus WWC giving event. My name is Ann Morgan, and I'll be hosting tonight along with the Giving Circle team. And we welcome all of you, our members, our visitors, the nonprofit representatives, and all of you joining us virtually. Thank you for being here. We want to thank all the volunteers that helped make this event happen. There's the vetting team, tracking membership, donations, tech support, marketing, all sorts of things. So if you want to donate your or volunteer your time and talents, please let us know. We'd love to have you. And a shout out to Yanni Bexel, who's here today. Hi, Yanni. Yenny has been with us from day one. She came up to us and said, "What do you need?" And I was like a deer caught in the headlights. I'm like, "What do you mean? I don't know what I need." But because of her support, we don't have to charge membership dues, and 100% of your donations go to the nonprofits. So thank you, Yenny. And Spot is hiring. Just put a little plug out there right now if you know anybody looking for a job. So, and we would also like to thank the Door County Community Foundation. With their help, they facilitate our payment processing, which is a really big deal for us. Huge administrative relief for us and allows people to pay by credit card, set up recurring payments. And also for the nonprofit organizations, they receive one or two checks as opposed to receiving 100 plus checks and having to do tax acknowledgement letters for every one of those checks they receive. So thank you to the Door County Community Foundation. Yeah. So tonight we're going to hear from about 3 local nonprofit organizations. We'll vote, we'll have a business update, and we'll hear from Help of Door County, and we'll do a drawing and announce awards. So that's the plan for tonight. Our mission is to connect like-minded women to make a meaningful impact in our community. And that is supported by our core values, which can be remembered by community first. And I invite you to look at our website for more detail on our core values. They've really been helpful for us over the years. So tonight, members are your fellow members are coming forward and telling you about a nonprofit that they're passionate about and want to share with you. And so please, let's give them our full attention, rounds of applause. And with that, I'd like to introduce our first speaker, Gloria Heck, presenting Door County Fire Chiefs Association.
Well, she already said my name, but I'll tell you again. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Gloria Heck, and I'm honored tonight to be here to present the Door County Fire Chiefs Association. Chris Heck, the Sister Bay and Liberty Grove fire chief, and I started this journey almost 5 years ago. Chris was to be here tonight to do the Q&A. As many of you know, Chris has had a brain aneurysm and is still in a coma. Even though he's not here in body, he's definitely here in spirit with us. Now, I'd like to get started by asking a few questions. I don't need you to have a show of hands, but they're rhetorical. How many of you or someone you know has called 911, been in a car accident, needed an ambulance, had a fire, had a fall or an outdoor or water accident, been to a concert, parade, or another event, ran the half marathon or a 5K, attended fire safety training? If the answer is yes to any of those questions, you have interacted with the Fire Chiefs Association. Their mission is improving fire safety, education, and prevention through cooperation. The Fire Chiefs Association has no employees. It is made up of over 300 plus fire personnel and 590 community volunteers and serves the entire Door County. Their primary role is to enhance and improve the functions and operations of their 11 fire departments, the first responder group, and to continually evaluate the needs and residents and the guests of Door County. The Fire Chiefs Association was a driving force in establishing or assisting in the following initiatives. During the COVID outbreak, a 24/7 helpline was staffed to provide support to residents and visitors. My husband and I were among the first volunteers to staff that helpline. Volunteers picked up prescriptions, groceries, water, and delivered them to people's homes. They made masks. Doctors and nurses addressed non-emergency medical questions as well as provided emotional support. They ensured children were provided school lunches while the children could not even attend school. With the cooperative efforts of the Door County Public Health, they coordinated over 100 drive-through vaccination clinics. With the cooperation efforts of the USDA, they had drive-up food distribution centers they were put into place. I was at one of the Sturgeon-based centers, and cars started driving up 2 hours before they opened their doors. It was a real eye-opener for me to see so many in need. Another key program the Chiefs Association established was Door County, DFibs for Door County. An anonymous donor pledged $75,000 to aid in purchasing defibrillators for Door County. The Fire Chiefs Association, my hearing aids are, someone's calling me and they're ringing into my Bluetooth. So I apologize for that. I'm a little off. The campaign offered AEDs free of charge to qualifying agencies and organizations that agreed to cover the maintenance cost of those. The 84 new AEDs doubled the county's inventory prior to the campaign launch. Most of the AEDs went to law enforcement, fire departments, EMS, and DNR agents. The remaining went to high-traffic locations where people work, such as museums, performing arts, schools, and churches. We still have a need in Door County for defibrillators, and that's where some of the money tonight will go to. A real-world example of how life-saving benefits of AEDs was underscored when the DFibs for Door County coordinator and local EMR responded to a 911 dispatch emergency. There was a female, 59 years old, was riding in a vehicle where she experienced concerning symptoms and lost consciousness. The EMR had the AED in her car, like most first responders do. She was at the scene within 3 minutes and administered defibrillation. By the time the ambulance arrived, the patient had a strong pulse and good vital signs. She recovered from what could have been a fatal accident, and it was confirmed by the hospital staff that she was in full cardiac arrest. A key fact: for every minute that passes without CPR and defibrillation, the chance of survival decreases by 7 to 10%. About 9 out of 10 people will suffer out of cardiac arrest, die. Another program established is the Incident Support Team, known as IST. The dedicated team of volunteers respond to major incidents across Door County, supporting not only the first responders, but also the residents affected by the incident. A few of the incidents where IST was critical in providing support were the Raleigh's Bay Resort fire, a search assistance to search the shoreline for the missing boater and his 2 children, a structure fire on White Cliff, a wildland fire on Washington Island. The Fire Chiefs Association organized all of these initiatives while ensuring they provide 24/7, 365-day-a-year fire rescue and emergency medical support to all of Door County, roughly 30,000 residents and 2.5 million visitors. I can attest firsthand to what they do. My husband is a volunteer firefighter. When the pager goes off at 3 a.m. and it's 3 degrees outside, they suit up and they're there for our community. I hope that you can see from my presentation that the Fire Chiefs Association is always there to serve and to continually strive to ensure the public safety for you, your families, visitors, and our beautiful community. Thank you for letting me share my passion, and thank you for the consideration to vote for the Fire Chiefs Association.
Thank you very much, Gloria. Before I introduce our first nonprofit, I just want to remind everyone that these are timed. We have just 5 minutes, and please try to make your questions really succinct and give as much time as we can to the nonprofits to be able to share the answers and for us to learn more about the organization. So with that, I am pleased to announce Mike Goldstone. Welcome. I'm sorry you're here under these circumstances, but we're glad you're here. Welcome.
Let me just very quickly say thank you very much for allowing us to be here. Thank you, Gloria. That was very important. And I'm sorry it's me and not Chris here. I would rather Chris here too. Thank you. Okay. The association itself has a very low budget. The association basically takes $150 from each department that is a member of the Fire Chiefs Association. That is our actual operating budget every year. Everything else is done outside of that, and we do that through basically the support of philanthropic organizations such as yourselves. The AED program and everything like that has come from outside sources. And that's why it's been so important. And that's why we so appreciate being here and your support, hopefully. But thank you.
I would like to know, how do you decide? I know Gloria said you need more defibrillators, correct?
Yes.
So how do you decide where they are placed and how many you need?
So, and that's an excellent question. How do we decide where they go? Basically, it's community need. Right now, the Fire Chiefs Association was able to place defibrillators with most of the police, the sheriff's department, and EMS units and responders. However, like Gloria was saying, time matters. So being able to place them in places where there is high volumes of people is one of the most important things we can do. And that's something that we're learning. I mean, it really is. The percentage basically is this. There is a 90% survival rate of, in the case of a AED being bought and used within the first minute. 90% is a huge number. Trust me, I've been in the medical services since 1983. I have seen a lot of calls and not many survival rates until the introduction of AEDs. And the better proliferation there are, the bigger chance there is. So what our goal now is we've gotten to the people that carry them and then drive there, but we need to get them into the communities where, like a place like this, where people are, something occurs, there are people who know how to use it, and also it's available immediately. Yes, sorry. Oh, closer to the mic. Is it my accent or is it? Sorry.
Kind of continue on what you were just explaining. So when you place these, say if you place one here at the library,
Yes.
do you also train people on how to use them, or is it just a drop and go?
So, thank you. Excellent question. How do we get the education? So, one of the great things about DFibs is that they are relatively simple. So you can pick one up, open it up, and look at the instructions inside. However, we do prefer that people are trained, and the Fire Chiefs Association does kind of conduct the training programs. Chris put the training program together, and so we do have that available. And part of the money is used, or hopefully, if we were to get this, would be used not only to place DFibs, but also to train people who want to be trained. And that is a very big part of this, and we absolutely support that.
With all of the summer events that go on, the music venues, et cetera, have you put into any consideration about having like a roaming AED
Yes.
that is at the different
Absolutely.
venues when,
Yeah.
I mean, you've got masses of people.
So again, Chris and I, this is one of our conversations that he and I have both had. I'm sorry. Yes, absolutely. We have developed both we are looking to develop fire extinguishers on posts that go to these events and an AED on a post that goes to these events. And that is absolutely one of the areas we are looking to fulfill with this. But that's a great question. Thank you.
So if the AED provide, who provides them? What gap does that fill?
Well, that's the problem. So the funds from the tax-paying organizations do not go towards any AEDs. This is something this is why the Fire Chiefs Association, we are volunteer. This is the part of the organization where we go out and try to raise money. There may be different places or venues that choose to try to raise their own funds to be able to buy an AED for themselves, but a lot of places aren't able to do that. And that's hopefully the gap we are filling by doing this. But our goal is to really get out into the community and provide that support. And again, this is the volunteer part of us. Our regular jobs, the tax-paying funds basically go to the trucks, and that's, and our equipment, and then everything else is outside. Oh, I'm terribly sorry. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mike. Okay, next up is the Door County Land Trust. And I'm happy to introduce Natalie Morgan. And I've already told her that Reese does not get a ballot.
I told her we're a team, so Reese votes. She votes with me. right? All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Natalie Morgan, and I'm excited to speak to you on behalf of an organization that has had a huge impact on my connection to Door County and my faith in the future stewardship of the land, and that is the Door County Land Trust. So I moved to Door County in July 2020, height of the pandemic, a time when it was increasingly difficult to connect. And during that time, the Land Trust, hiking those trails, was a conduit to connection for me, not only to my new home that was just a vacation spot before, but also to my parents who I hiked with on the weekends. And it gave me a whole new lens on what made Door County so special and allowed me to learn more and more about the Land Trust's incredible work. So now I have a 10-month-old daughter, Reese, she's over there. And when I picture her growing up in Door County, I see her exploring these same trails and being part of a community that chooses to preserve and care for nature. The Door County Land Trust mission is urgent and clear: to protect Door County's exceptional lands and waters forever so that future generations can breathe clean air, drink clean water, experience the richness of biodiversity, enjoy inspiring natural places, and benefit from a resilient local economy that is sustained by this protection. Just this month, they reached a milestone: 10,000 acres of protected land across the county. For comparison, that's more than all 5 state parks in Door County combined. And this land isn't just scenic, it's essential. Door County is home to over 350 species that are rare, threatened, or endangered, more than almost any other county in Wisconsin. 1 million species worldwide are on the brink of extinction, and the best thing we can do to protect them is to protect the places they call home. And that's what the Land Trust does every day. In some places, they protected the habitat for the dwarf lake iris, which is a tiny striking blue flower found almost nowhere else in the world. And others, they're keeping shorelines clean for spawning whitefish or preserving migratory flyways for bats and birds. But their work is also deeply human. They offer 15 public nature preserves with 28 miles of hiking trails, free and open to all. And they run educational programs with local schools, host family hikes, and lead citizen science projects with researchers and volunteers. They manage over 500 volunteers who serve as trail stewards, hike leaders, and event hosts. And they make it possible for all of us to experience nature not as a luxury, but as a shared right. And they make every dollar count. Donations to the Land Trust are often matched with grants, meaning your gift is multiplied 4 to 6 times. Last year, private contributions covered 36% of the cost of protecting 440 acres of land, so that land is now safe forever. The funds from this award would go directly to the 2025 Conservation and Stewardship Campaign, a campaign that fuels land protection, restoration, and public access projects across the county. So far this year, it includes 12 to 15 new land protections, 3 more big projects being added in May, ongoing trail and wetland restoration, community education sites, like the newly acquired Girl Scout camp in Bailey's Harbor. They're transforming that space into an indoor-outdoor classroom for year-round learning, and it's already being used for spring kickoff with local Girl Scouts, and they're building out monthly family programming so kids can get their hands in the dirt and learn about the land by being on it. To put it simply, this donation would help protect more of what we love about Door County. And the Land Trust believes what I believe, that Door County is like nowhere else on earth. It's healing, right? Like in so many ways at different points in my life, I feel like it saved me. The waters, the lake, the woods, that like scent of pine needles, that fresh air when you're going through remote spaces untouched by pavement and industry has given me new perspective when I need it most in life. And I know so many of you have experienced that too. And I want that experience for my daughter and for generations to come. So with your support, we can help protect Door County's beauty, biodiversity, and spirit, not just for us, but for every child, every visitor, and every living thing that calls this place home. Thank you for listening and caring. I hope you join me in voting for the Door County Land Trust.
Thank you, Natalie. And so I would like to introduce Executive Director Emily Wood and Director of Charitable Giving Cinnamon Rossman, and they're here to answer your questions. Who would like to kick us off? Oh, wait, don't start yet.
So I've heard that Knowles Nelson, which is a major funding source for the land trust might be in danger this year. Can you talk a little bit about that and what we might be able to do to help make sure that those state funds are still available?
Thank you, Tammy. That's a great question. Yeah, that's right. The Knowles Nelson Stewardship Fund, which is the state fund, Wisconsin State Fund for Protecting Land, is up for reauthorization. There is a chance right now that it could not be reauthorized. This, paired with the fact that a lot of our federal funding has been either frozen or is in jeopardy for future cycles, we have a lot of funding issues ahead of us right now. So events like this are really special to us. So thank you. Good question.
What is your budget last year and what's your budget this year? What does your financials look like?
Sure. So our annual operating budget this year is about 2.4 million, and that's just the funds that it takes to operate the land trust on a regular day-to-day basis, because we have 15 people on staff and so many people dedicated to land protection efforts. We also have to raise quite a bit extra money for special projects to meet the needs. Emily mentioned the Knowles Nelson Stewardship Program. State funding only covers about 50% of a land protection project. So we need to raise the other 50% from the community. So a lot of our land protection projects this year look like they're unfunded right now. So we are working very hard to make sure that we can raise the funds to finish those projects.
This might be a stupid question, but I know there's been talk about privatization of public parks and public land. So if you acquire a piece of land or property up here, what does it actually mean? Like, is it protected forever? Are there limitations?
So we are designated by the IRS as a 501c nonprofit. So just as long as 501c3 nonprofits exist, we will perpetuate as a nonprofit organization. But we also back that up in a couple of ways. We are an accredited land trust. Our accreditation is based on a review from the Land Trust Alliance. And we keep an endowment of funds. For every protected property, we set aside a certain amount. And that amount ensures that if everything were to go to hell in a handbasket, that money to absolutely ensure that the land is protected forever remains solid. And that means that staff would be able to defend any issues on the land. They would be able to go out and monitor the boundaries, make sure that nobody was camping out or building on a property. And that's how we can say that we're protected forever.
I'm just wondering if you, or what you will do with the money you will receive an award tonight. Yay. What would you be using that specifically for?
I think that's a great question. This funding would go into our stewardship and land acquisition campaign for the year. So that means that the funding would be directed entirely towards acquiring or protecting land in perpetuity. So that could go towards surveys, appraisals, our environmental site assessments, all the things that we're required to do to maintain our accreditation are all wrapped up into those costs.
I have a question. One of my dear friends asked me one time, how much is enough in terms of the land? And I'm curious to have you explain how the Land Trust prioritizes land acquisition throughout the county.
Yeah, that's a great question. So just for reference, we're oftentimes called the Cape Cod of the Midwest, right? Cape Cod actually as a region is 30% protected. Its land is under 30% protection. Here in Door County, we're at about 10%. So if we were to match that, we would have to go way up. So over tens of thousands of acres that we're talking about. So there's still a lot of work to be done here if we were to match that 30% land protection. But because we have limited resources and a lot of really high value properties, ecologically speaking or recreationally speaking, we do have what we call a land priority plan. It's an internal document that has identified, I think, 33 different high-quality ecological areas that have threatened and endangered species on them, that are in need of protection, some of these places where things only occur here in the whole world. So those places we have ranked. And when properties become available in those areas, we pretty well know if we have a stake in that area. And oftentimes we're building out areas that we've already protected. So we have a footprint, and then we sort of start to grow those areas. For example, Kangaroo Lake Nature Preserve started in 1995 as a 60-acre acquisition, and we now protect over 300 acres at Kangaroo Lake. So it's a really long game, but we do have all of these properties prioritized across the county. Good question.
Okay, and last up is the Miller Art Museum, and here to present on their behalf is Jane Failla. Welcome.
Good evening. I'm Jane Failla. I'm a member of 100 Women Who Care. I'm a retired art teacher and also an artist here in Door County. I'm here to support the Miller Art Museum for tonight's award. So many of us know of the great programming that Miller Art Museum has had over the 50-plus years, but I'm here tonight to ask your support for two specific Miller Art programs that directly benefit our students in Door County. The first program is the School Tour Program. This program offers interactive tours at the museum for Door County students K through 12. These are designed to teach both visual literacy and critical thinking skills. They teach the visual literacy through using guided questions, helping the students learn to discern the deeper meaning in the artworks they are seeing. This skill set transfers to visual literacy in other areas of life, such as understanding social media, film, and the news, which is very important. The students build critical thinking skills through planned discussions with the staff and docents and hands-on activities. It's really quite amazing to see the insightful things that students say when they're in a museum setting and with adults that they might never have met before. The total cost is $9,000 for the School Tour Program part. This includes round-trip bus transportation from the schools to the museum, the staffing needed for planning and being on site, the educational materials, the hands-on activities for the students, and a lunch or snack for the students depending on which school they're coming from. Tonight's award would help restore this program to its pre-COVID levels so that it can be once again offered to all of the schools from Washington Island to Southern Door. Second program is the Salon of Door County High School Art Exhibit. That is on display right now. This is an annual exhibit of high school students at the Miller Art Museum. It generally has 200 students participating from all of the Door County high schools, Washington Island through Southern Door. This show costs just under $15,000 to put on each year. This includes the normal costs that you'd expect, such as staffing, promotion, display materials, etc. It also includes money to help with framing. Now, I know firsthand that cost almost always comes out of the art teachers' pockets. So that is very nice. A large chunk of the cost, of the $15,000, $6,000 goes to awards directly to the students. These awards include awards such as art classes at the Peninsula School of Art. There are 10 of those awards. And that's excellent because it gives the students another opportunity for adult mentorship in our community. Very, very important for our kids nowadays. Other awards are for art supplies for the students. They can receive those at the Art Guild. And there are general awards that the students can use for what they need. There's also a small stipend per each teacher to buy art supplies for their classroom. Shows like these are excellent opportunities for our students in Door County. The opening reception brings in students with their family members and community members from all over Door County. And it gives the students a huge sense of pride and confidence when they see their artwork framed and hung in a museum setting. Now, this is really extra special to see your work framed in a museum. Art shows in the schools are wonderful, but this is different. These shows often inspire the students to to consider an art career, such as what happened to me, and I'm very happy about that, and to become lifelong learners in the arts and crafts like so many of us here. They bring Door County together as well as a community to celebrate the positive things that our students are doing. Tonight's award will go to funding both of these programs, so very specific, divvied out for both of these. I strongly believe in the value of art in our lives, and I support bringing these programs to our Door County children. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jane. So here to field questions for the Miller Art Museum is Executive Director Elizabeth Meisner Gigstead. Welcome, Elizabeth.
Thank you so much, everyone, for allowing us to be here this evening.
As a student who received an award from the Miller Art School High School Art Show many years ago, I know that it really affects students in a pretty broad way. Can you describe how exhibiting in the show or receiving an award in the show might help a high school art student?
Yes. So much like Cinnamon, I am proof of that. I also was an award recipient as a high school artist myself, and it gave me a huge boost of confidence. And the mentorship from my art teacher, all those years that I participated in that, to go to art school, get a degree in museum studies and arts management. So here I am living proof of the impact of that program. And to further substantiate that, just another little antidote, I was at an internship fair recruiting interns for our program, and happened to run into a student who once was a participant in the Salon of High School Art. And she proceeded to tell me how important that experience was for her in her own art education journey. So those are two examples for you, as well as Cinnamon's, that articulate the impact of these experiences for young people in Door County.
So can you, the award the award that they receive, how is that money funded for that award? Or is it a monumental award?
So they get, so there's 2 students from each schools that receive awards. There's a certificate of excellence and there's a honorable mention, and those are both cash awards. So that's $100 for the certificate of excellence and $50 cash for the honorable mention. And then the cash awards to each of the high schools is just $100, but certainly could be bigger.
What are the sources of your funding?
Yeah,
Different sources?
So we have about a $300,000 operating budget. 57% roughly is contributed income. So things like membership, individual donations, corporate sponsorships, that sort of thing. And then 43% earned income. A large part of our funding for our exhibitions in specific comes from our exhibition sponsors. We would not be able to do what we do without that, and that varies from year to year, depending upon the exhibition schedule.
Tell us about the little shop that you have within the Miller Art Museum.
What would you like to hear about the shop?
Well, it's,
we
it's
carry
so
a won-
varied.
Yeah, we carry a wonderful variety of merchandise in our museum store, which is what Peggy referred to as our shop. We represent local artists. We use that as a means to raise funds for the museum as well. So that's part of our earned income. And that varies from year to year, between $8,000 and $10,000 we raise for that in our $300,000 budget. So it's a small space, but certainly mighty and does impact our bottom line.
Were you saying previously that the program, the outreach program to bring the school children into the museum is not as broad as it used to be?
That is correct.
So these funds, can you explain how these funds will go to enhancing that program
Yes.
again?
So, for example, just to give you an idea of pre-COVID numbers, we had school children coming from Gibraltar, Sevastopol, Sturgeon Bay. Washington Island is a bit difficult, but for 3 shows each year. We have 7 exhibitions per year, and we've seen a tremendous decline because of COVID, right? I remember doing tours with our volunteers or attempting to do tours with our volunteers during COVID via a screen. It was tremendously difficult. It's not the same experience. And so given the structure of the schools post-COVID, we've had a hard time getting back into that, but we're gaining traction this year. I'm really excited. We have Sturgeon Bay schools coming in at both the high school level and the elementary level, which is grades 3 to 6, actually next week. So that's one. So that gives you comparison to the exposure then versus now. And so what this will help us realize is increased support to be able to bring those kids back to the museum. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone. Presentations are getting so good, it's sometimes hard to ask questions. Okay, so it's time to vote. And don't forget, if you're live streamed, to vote online. And everyone knows, but just a reminder, it's 1 vote per team.
Okay, on to our business update. So since inception of July 2018 through tonight's meeting, we will have raised over $710,000 for 68 local nonprofit organizations. You know, you all inspire me so much. I mean, people sign up, just have moved up here. They don't know anybody. They come to the meetings. People nominate nonprofits and they're brave. They come before you and they share their passions. And y'all have the same shared vision that by coming together, we can do great things. So I want y'all to give yourselves a round of applause. Okay, here are people that have joined since our last giving event. If you're here, could you stand up? We'd love to give you a round of applause. Anybody here? All right. And thank you all for your referrals. There's business cards throughout the building. Please take them. Now, last, for those of you that attended in January, we talked about the idea of having a more robust food offering for our social hour. And Gloria Heck and Katie Harding did some work on that for us. And we want to thank them for doing the work, and it helped the board kind of think about this a little bit more logistically. And some of the things that we took into consideration. We've decided not to do that, by the way. So we're gonna keep it simple. Sorry to disappoint, but we're gonna keep it simple. One of the things that stands out when we do the survey or when we're talking to people is that people just like that we're drill sergeants, and we just kind of keep it on task, keep the meeting going, we're efficient, and focus on philanthropy. So we want to keep that. And another thing about keeping it simple, that's one of our core values, is our hope is that this giving circle can be sustainable. As new people come into the fold and able to take on different roles, we want to keep it as simple as possible. So we apologize for the work and effort you put in, and we would like to give you a big round of applause for your efforts. So thank you. If anybody is interested in helping at social events, please let Susie Cotter or Faye Germain know. They're the chairs for our social committee, so always looking for help there. And we also want to throw out to the membership that if you're interested in the board of directors, please let us know. We meet 6 times a year. 4 of those are for sure virtual, and sometimes we meet in person for the other 2. We are approving the nonprofit applications that have been passed along to us from the vetting team, and then we just address other things that might come up throughout the year. So if you want to bring your perspective from membership to the board, let us know and we can give you more information. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Susie Cotter.
Hi, everybody. For those of you who are new and don't know me, I'm Susie Cotter, and tonight I'm literally wearing a different hat. Some people that I know didn't know me with my hat on, so I'm normally not this cash at the meetings, even though that's okay to be, but we're just promoting some of our swag. So let's see if I can, there you go. So on our website, we have one of those pretty red buttons at the top that says 100 plus WWC apparel. Real easy to click on that and go into the store. And these are some of our pieces that are on there. We're working with Bonnie over at Hat Head, and I want to thank her for coming tonight. She makes things really easy and really easy for me, and we just put up some new pieces. I'm wearing one of the new pieces. Bonnie's wearing one of the new pieces. We have a new collared short sleeve, would be a great golf shirt or drinking wine shirt. Yes. So they're good to bring up conversation, right? So people are wondering what this is all about. I have a fleece over there. I know Ann and I have that same fleece. It's just the perfect weight. I take it with me whenever I travel, wherever I travel, because it's just warm and cozy, but it's nice and thin. So a little plug for apparel. Oh, there's some more girls. Yeah, that's my fleece. And look at those cute beanies. They're adorable. Yeah, that's real cute over there too. So go on there. It makes it so easy. Bonnie makes it so easy. I'm sure if you had any questions, she'd be happy to help you with that. And you do pick them up at Hat Head. So we appreciate her help with that. And I would just reiterate what Ann said a little earlier. We have 400 members. Are we over 400? 400. Holy 400. That is amazing. So it takes a few people to volunteer and run the meetings, and we're sometimes shorthanded. And I'll thank Deb Davis for stepping in to help at last minute for me today when we were shorthanded, and hi to Faye out in TV land that she was supposed to be here tonight and did not feel well. So we can always use a volunteer, another hand, right? And we really appreciate everybody that does help. And if you can help, that would be lovely. And if you want to be part of the social team, we basically have 2 big events, the Warm Hands, Warm Hearts at Christmas time. And we've done our boat ride every fall, which has been a lot of fun. And I think we'll continue to do that. So, and every now and then we throw in a little something extra. So if you'd like to join our team, we'd love to have you, or help any place else, we'd really love to have you. We appreciate everybody. Thank you, guys.
Okay, now I get to share my famous button slide. So this is on our homepage. on our website. And so really easy to join us, nominate a nonprofit, donate, or order apparel, as Susie was talking about. So keep that in mind. And now we'll move on to, I'd like to introduce Mariah Benzow with Help of Door County. She's the executive director there. And they received an award from us in January 2024. And with the matching grant, received a total of $20,975. So welcome.
Hi, everybody. So get really nervous doing public speaking, so I'm going to try to slow down my speaking so I'm not rambling too fast. But we just, oh, okay. Is that better? Okay. So on behalf of Help of Door County, we just really wanted to thank everybody who helped donate. That was an extraordinary amount of money that was completely unexpected, and very, very grateful for it. So let me get my little notes here so I get my numbers. So thanks to your guys' generosity, we were able to put those funds directly into victim services, which include crisis intervention, legal advocacy, emergency safe homes, and our transitional living program. A little bit of information, our transitional living program not only helps with providing rental assistance for up to 4 months, we also help finding furniture, purchasing household items, providing financial help with groceries and other basic needs that a survivor might need to start over. Additionally, we also provide emergency safe shelters, and since we don't have a shelter in Door County, those funds go towards hotel rooms throughout the county. And as you can expect, the pricing of those hotels and availability varies seasonally. So sometimes it's very easy in the winter to find something very close to wherever the person is, and sometimes we're having to look as far as Green Bay, and then we also provide transportation there if they don't have a vehicle to wherever they might be, wherever we can get them safe in a crisis. So all of the money that we get goes directly into keeping our services free of charge. We want to make sure that anybody who's suffering from domestic violence is able to get out of that situation as to any way that we can. We've helped people flown people to California to their family. We've just recently gotten train tickets to somebody all the way to Kansas to get out of here. And then we also want to keep them in the community and help get them safe. And that is restarting over, finding affordable housing, and just rebuilding their life. Because the last thing we want them to do is stay because of their items, their things, or whatever the case may be. We want to get them out and into safety, and we'll do anything we can to help bridge those gaps and break down those barriers for them. So I just really wanted to say thank you. I mean, last year we provided over 1,500 services to individuals in Door County. And we couldn't do it without the support of our community. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Mariah. Okay, so I'm Ann Glessner. I'm the nonprofit coordinator, and I'm on the board. And we thought we would spend just a couple minutes and do a quick reminder, because there are a lot of new members, which is fantastic, to explain the nomination process. So as a reminder, and this is key, your nominations absolutely shape where the gifts and donations go. So it all starts with you, and it starts with your nomination. So the nomination process itself is very simple. If you go back to Ann M's favorite slide with the buttons, it's a button, and it's easy and it's short. You basically just tell us who you are, who you would like to nominate, you give us their contact information, and that's it. The rest then goes to the nonprofit. They're the ones who complete the application and provide all the information we request. And then basically it's a waiting game until you're pulled from the hat. And then at that point, as you have all seen, you'll work with the nonprofit to prepare your 5-minute speech, and you'll deliver your speech. And that truly is it. And just a reminder, we didn't use it this evening, but we do have the delegated speaker option. And so if you are really uncomfortable speaking in front of a group, you can ask another 100+ member to speak on your behalf. So you can tag team that if you would like. So we just encourage everybody to keep the nominations coming in, and also be sure to check the website. Each quarter, we have the new prior award winners who are now eligible again. That's a little confusing to think about, but once the time out of the hat has passed, prior award winners are eligible to be renominated. And so our website has all of that information. And so be sure to check it because we're good about keeping all that up to date. So if you've got any questions about are they eligible again? Is my favorite nonprofit already in the hat? Whatever, you can shoot us an email and you can also look on the website. Okay, so just a couple of our normal slides. We've got 23 nonprofits in the hat. We, of course, had 3 present this evening, and we had 4 new nominations added. So we're up 1. So kind of running on average, I would say. And then you can see here we've got a big decrease in the average age of the nonprofit that's in the hat. So it's a little over a year because, and I kind of forgot to say this, but tonight was the aged hat drawing. So both the fire chiefs as well as the Door County Land Trust had both been in the hat for more than 3 years. And so in January, we pulled them from the aged hat and they presented. So that's why you see the big decrease in the age. So we're happy with our new aged hat process, as is Gloria. Okay, so as I mentioned, we've got 23 nonprofits in the hat, and the ones in blue are the 4 new nonprofits that are in the hat this quarter. So with that, it's time to pull from the hat, and these were vetted. Thank you to Denise Stillman. She did that early on so that we know everybody on the screen is in the hat. So I need a volunteer to come up and pull 3 from the hat. I'll read off the names. You want to, Gloria? Okay. Okay. Number one is the Door County Historical Society. Number 2 is the Peninsula Music Festival. And number 3 is Door County Knock Publishing Company. So as usual, we have a range of how long people were in the hat, including Peninsula Music Festival, which was in the hat 0 days. Because they're blue. Okay. Okay, so as mentioned previously, tonight's award is around $32,000. This is our plug that the nonprofits don't get their money until all of you have paid. And so the sooner you pay, the sooner we can get the money into the hands of the nonprofits. And so as a reminder, the main award recipient receives 50%, so it'll be around $16,000, and the 2 runners-up will each receive approximately 25%. And then, as we like to mention, the main award recipient also has the opportunity to apply for the Richard M. Schultz Award, which is up to $5,000. So we've had pretty good luck with that, so keep fingers crossed there. Yes. So with that, got a piece of paper here. We ready? So tonight's main award recipient is, thank you. It was on both sides, but this, I agree. The winner is the Door County Fire Chiefs Association. Very good. So they were nominated during COVID, July of 2020. So it's been a long time coming.
Thank you, Ian. We have a couple more slides after this, but this is a time that I like to remind the nonprofit representatives and the people that nominated them and the board to go to the back of the room to get the picture with the check afterwards, right away. And also, if you haven't turned in a check, please do that before you leave. Please leave your name tags. Also, I have other reminders. I lost my place. Okay, and then, oh yeah, grab some cards and sign the banner. Okay, with that, our next meeting is July 28th. We hope you can join us. And we have a quote, "What you do makes a difference." And you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make. That's by Jane Goodall, primatologist. And lastly, this is our elevator pitch. Do good, feel good, gather, have fun with 100+ WWC. Thank you, everybody. Safe travels home.